Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today I thought we'd go over a few data mines because it has some pretty interesting information which may lead to some pre-order packs or even some events when it comes to the weekend or maybe even a Memorial Day idea. So basically, we have a set of data mines from Zabby, and once again, it is always appreciated the work that Zabby does, so make sure to thank him in your own way. You can normally find him on the War Thunder forums or even on the Reddit, and I'll leave links in the description to the posts that we'll be going through. So when it comes to data mines themselves, they have a little bit of interesting information, which means that we can speculate on what we might see in the future. And hopefully we'll get some dev blogs over the week so we can see some ideas confirmed or denied. The first data mine is adding on to some of the sound changes that we've seen over the last few days when it comes to War Thunder. It looks like they've taken a lot of the work in progress stuff that was going on and implemented it into the full game client. At the same time, there is still quite a lot of issues when it comes to audio, mainly just certain audio being completely silent now, such as certain engines and also certain guns, which is a bit of a problem. Also, we have a new avatar, which is of Konstantin Olshansky. Now, when it comes to random profile pictures or avatars, normally this is a signal of an event, or it's a signal of maybe putting it in something like a battle pass or stuff like that. And to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure which event it could be for this guy. So if you have any ideas, make sure to put them in. But this guy is basically Konstantin Olshansky, or his full name, which is Konstantin Fyodorovich Olshansky, and he was a senior lieutenant and Soviet Marine of the Black Sea Fleet. He was born in Prikoltny in Ukraine, and he died during the war, actually trying to save a part of it. He was actually, after his death, given the award, the Hero of the Soviet Union, and also there's a bunch of stuff which is named after him, including some warships. But the story of him during World War II starts with, of course, the place, which now is known as Mykolaiv, which at the beginning of World War II, it was occupied on the 16th of August 1941, and in September, German forces massacred over 35,000 non-combatants, including many of them being Jewish, in the center and also the region around it. During the occupation, there was an underground partisan sabotage group. The Mykolaiv Center conducted guerrilla activities, and on the 28th of March 1944, the city was liberated, and in part because of Soviet Senior Lieutenant Konstantin F. Olshansky's paratroopers and their daring raid, during which the majority of his troops were killed. So you can see that this is why he's remembered, because of his liberation of the city itself. But one of the problems with this is, he died on the 27th of March 1944, so that's nearly a month away, and also the raid happened during that time as well, between those days. So I don't really know how this would fit in to like a Memorial Day event or something else which is going on, but I'm sure we'll see going forward. There is also another data mine which has changed a few things when it comes to the game, or will change a few things when it comes to the game, and starting with the PS4 reserve memory, going from 512 to 768, which is a reverted change from before. The BV138C1, its jet sound has also been disabled. I feel like this has happened twice now with this vehicle, or at least it happened with another very low-ranking plane, and I want to know why it keeps happening. That it just seems like such a weird thing to happen. And then we have something interesting. We have a new decal, which is the Freeman decal, and then you have a new pre-order for the Term 3 pack, and also a new title, which is experimental. Now, there's been some stipulations and some thoughts about what this could be, and it seems like the overall general narrative is that it's going to be a German premium pre-order. And the reason for this is because of the vehicle itself. The Erprobungsträger mit Stabilisatorem prototype. This was a prototype from 1966 that was designed by the Germans, so it would go into the German tech tree. One thing to note, since this happened last time, and I'm not interested in it happening again, Piev has done a wonderful article on it when it comes to the War Thunder forums. What he's also done is completely copy and pasted it from a Russian website, so before people tell me that I'm copying somebody else's work again, I would just like to put it here that it ain't happening once again, because I'm not interested in getting raked over the coals for something I didn't do again. So that's a little disclaimer, just to get this started. But when it comes to this machine, what it basically is a crazy project. It's one which came around at the same time as the MBT-70 and the KPZ-70 project, when the Germans and the Americans were working together on a standard MBT design. But during the process of designs for MBTs, this was one of them that was actually come up with, and it was also one which went past the general paper or planning stage. They actually invested money and time into making this behemoth. The idea was to take a standard Leopard chassis in the form of a Leopard 1, boost it up so it would be able to house a new turret, which would have this new modernized stabilizer system, which wouldn't just be good for vertical and also horizontal, it would also be good for the other plane. Therefore, it would be a 3-stage stabilizer. So something that you don't really see when it comes to general warfare for many different reasons, but mainly improvements in FCS in the vehicles themselves. Normally you see a 2-plane stabilizer instead. But the term 3 would be talking about the mit 3-ax Stabilisatorium term for the vehicle itself. Term obviously meaning tower in German, or turret, and this would be the one with the 3 stabilizer. Also, the title lines up because it's experimental. This was a very experimental machine when it comes to it, and also the decal being the Freeman decal. I don't know how that lines up at all with this, but I'm sure it'll make sense going forward. But generally, when it comes to this vehicle, what you're going to get is something that is built on top of a Leopard 1 chassis, but completely changed when it comes to it. It had a bunch of road wheels. It had 7 road wheels in total. It had a slightly higher structure on top of it with differently sloped armor and also different values, and it had this monstrosity of a turret on top of it. And this turret was designed for a few reasons, mainly once again to fulfill the dreams of the 3 stabilized setup for the gun, and also to be able to fit an L7, the 105mm, which we see pretty much across the board, the standard gun for this tier of vehicle around the 60s and also the 70s. Another thing they wanted to do with this vehicle, because of its extra weight going up to 45 tons, they wanted to put in a 1000 horsepower engine instead of the standard more applicable 800 and approximately 50 horsepower engine that was used before. So they wanted to beef the engine while increasing the weight, and also with the bulging turret still have enough space for the crew to fit in, while also having this new 3 stabilized system. They also decided to chuck a 30mm coaxial on it, because why not? When you're making a crazy design, why not go completely balls to the wall instead of halfway? And that's exactly what they did. So this thing doesn't just have an L7, it also has a coaxial 30mm. I don't think the 30mm is as stabilized as the gun though, because the turret itself is nearly fully stabilized, but only on one of the axes compared to the 3, where the gun actually has to rely on other systems to stabilize itself when it comes to its X and Y plane. The other thing is, the reason why this project never really went anywhere, or the reason why they moved on, was because of obviously the complications of the system, and also at the same time, FCS, or the fire control system of vehicles, became more advanced. And what happened with these is they were actually able to start calculating through the issues that the not having the three-plane system created. So because they were able to sort it out through that, there was no need for these complex, complicated designs to be able to push them through. So instead, what you have on the vehicle itself is something which is massively over-engineered and massively crazy. It should have good optics though, it should have good mobility, and it should also have itself good speed, and well, it's a Leopard with a L7 on it, with a fully stabilized vehicle. It'll be really weird to see what BR this is, by the way, if it is this vehicle, and I'm sure in the coming days we'll see it when it comes to dev blogs. It's a monstrosity of a vehicle, but we'll have to see what goes on with it. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Merciless Reaper, Jerry Provolt, Mega Dino King, Professor X1718, Orange Tail, Sakoshi Tiger, Teddy, John Ryman, Universe, Eugens Terry, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, Moxie, B. Young, and Derek R., Barine, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.